Is it fair to say that the Big 12 opener went about how we expected it to for West Virginia? I don't know, but we're going to talk about it as the West Virginia gets the beat down put on them against Iowa State at Hilton Coliseum in Ames, Iowa. Big 12 opener. Immediate reaction here on this episode of Mountaineer Moment. This is the Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. From pregame to postgame coverage and breaking news, we've got you covered. Let's go. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. This is episode 120, and the Mountaineers are fresh off of a Big 12 opener on the road, a tough test against the unbeaten number 3 ranked Iowa State Cyclones at Hilton Coliseum, and West Virginia simply couldn't hang long enough, nearly enough, weren't good enough, weren't strong enough, weren't physical enough, weren't smart enough to be anywhere in contention in that second half as West Virginia loses to Iowa State. Again, this is episode 120 of Mountaineer Moment, available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, hit that subscribe button for us as we continue to grow this Mountaineer Moment community. 120 episodes in. Thank you for being a part of it, whether it's your first time or your 120th time. Thank you for being a part of it. We're going to give you all that you need to know out of this one game, literally just now going final. And we're going to give you everything that you need to know about this one. Tough test. We knew it coming in. That's why I said that in that introduction. We knew it was going to be hard. Not to say that everything was all negative and that there aren't a few things that you can look at and be like, all right, well, that's encouraging or this is encouraging. But all in all, you got smacked by Iowa State. They're number 3 in the country for a reason, and you are not for a reason. You are not nationally ranked for a reason. You've lost every game you've played against a team, in the Power Conference to this point, and this is January 2nd, West Virginia's first true road game, and it's a place in Iowa State where they flashed their record up on the screen over the last 2 seasons. They are almost unbeatable at home for a reason. That crowd is amazing. They got good players, good coaching staff, and they're doing something special over in Ames. But West Virginia falls to Iowa State. We'll give you all that you need to know from this one. We'll talk about just kind of how the game progressed in this one. Take a look at the box score. And talk about really the simplicity of basketball sometimes and just how one team makes more shots than the other team does. Because sometimes the game really is that simple. I feel like that's something Bob Huggins used to say, it's just, making shots, or guys don't make shots, or these guys do make shots. Because sometimes it really is as simple as that. But we'll start from the top. Just the initial reaction. I thought West Virginia played hard. Obviously, they got out to an early lead, in the first half. 4-point lead, 5-point lead, and then Iowa State goes on a run. At the end of the first half, and they ended up taking a 13-point lead into the half. Did Iowa State 41-28, and that hurt, right? That was the game right there in a lot of ways. That run that Iowa State went on at the end of the first half, because West Virginia was really holding their own, forcing a few turnovers. Good, clean basketball. Honor Huff made the first shot of the game, wide open 3, right? He didn't get another look like that the rest of the way, because they D'd up on him. But Honor Huff made an open 3 to start the game. Jasper Floyd, looked all right to start the game, made a couple shots. Chance Moore got the start, and with Belo being out with his injury, apparently that's day to day, they said at the open of the broadcast. So Chance Moore got the start. This is game number 14, and that's the first shakeup in the lineup, and it's your first game on the road. So a couple new adventures for the Mountaineers in this game. But you started all right, got some guys involved, and then, turnovers, and Iowa State just started making shots, and you stopped making shots, and next thing you know, you take a 4-point lead for West Virginia. You turn it into a quick 2-point lead for Iowa State, 4-point lead for Iowa State. Next thing you know, they're up 10. Next thing you know, they're up 13. You're heading into the break. like what just happened. And that's really what it felt like, because this had initially had the makings of, it's like, all right, West Virginia's playing well. Iowa State's an incredible team. We know that, but they're playing well. Maybe they're going to hang around. It's going to be a game at halftime, and then let's go out the second half and throw a punch and see what happens, and let's give them our best shot. Had the makings of that. That's really where you were thinking this was going midway through the first half, and it just didn't. Right at the half, down 13. Not to sit here and say it was an impossible feat to, something to overcome, but you sure felt a little down after the way the game started and where it ended up being at halftime. You felt like you were out of this one, and turned out you were. So that first half run, real quick, shot making, turnovers, lack of shot making for West Virginia, and bada bing, bada boom, you're down 13. You feel out of it, and you were. Final score in the game, 80-59 in favor of the Cyclones. Again, Iowa State putting up 41 in the first half, 39 in the second half. If you follow along Mountaineer Moment the last few episodes, it's kind of funny that those scores are so close to 40, because that's something we emphasize through the first 4 losses for West Virginia. All 4 of those games featured a 40-plus point second half for all of those teams, for Clemson, for Xavier, for Wake Forest, and for Ohio State. Each of those 4 teams had a 40-plus point second half. Well, that didn't happen in this one. It was a 41-point first half for Iowa State and then a 39-point second half, so real close there. But that's the first game West Virginia's lost this year. When they didn't give up 40 in the second half, they gave up 39. So it's just kind of a funny note there, just based on what I've been saying here on Mountaineer Moment over the last few weeks with the Mountaineers' recent losses. But 80 points to the Cyclones, 59 for West Virginia. Again, 28 in the first half, 31 in that second half. For the 21-point loss for the Mountaineers. I think the spread was like 16.5, 17.5, somewhere in there. So nearly on par for what they were thinking heading into this one. Iowa State, incredibly talented, and they were showcasing it today. Some of those numbers we mentioned pregame, some of these players we mentioned pregame, we'll get to in a second, but some of those numbers we were talking about, pregame, obviously they lead the Big 12 in point differential, 27.5. Hot shooting from beyond the arc as a team. They entered this game shooting 41% from 3. We'll talk about that in a second. That percentage went up. And then forcing turnovers. West Virginia had 12 turnovers in this one. 6 steals for Iowa State. West Virginia turned Iowa State over 11 times. Got out rebounded 35-23, did the Mountaineers. And yeah, so, initial reaction, and then, breaking that down further into the game summary. I mean, this was a game that was lost over the last 10 minutes, 8 minutes. I don't even remember exactly when they went on that run in the first half. I can pull it up here real quick. Yeah. I mean, West Virginia was up 19-15. Yeah, man, that's the stretch right there. Chance Moore had a nice dunk off an Obi-Oha pass to take a 19-15 lead for West Virginia with 9.5 minutes to go. And it was 8.5 minutes to go when Iowa State scored again. So it went from 19-15 with 8.5 minutes to 41-28 over the last 8.5. There's your ball game, right? If you want a game summary, you want to know what went wrong, you want to know what happened. Well, from 19-15 to 41-28, 19-point, or 17-point swing, up 4 to down 13, 17-point swing over an 8.5 minute stretch. There is your ball game, folks. That's it right there. That's what you need to know. The end of the first half killed the Mountaineers. That's just what happened. Second half, red-hot shooting continued for Iowa State, if not even more so. Momcilovic just absolutely went off. We talked about him pregame, and he was shooting like 55% from 3. And you never thought that number would go up. But on the season, that number has now gone up because he went off, especially in the second half. Momcilovic, in his 34 minutes, made 8 out of 10 threes for 26 points to lead all scorers in this one. Joshua Jefferson, we mentioned him, a stat sheet stuffer, points, rebounds, assists, had I think 5 double-doubles coming in. Well, and he was getting close to a triple-double. Well, he did it finally. 10, 10, and 10. 10 points, 10 boards, 10 assists for Joshua Jefferson to go along with 3 steals and 2 blocks. He's one of the best players in the country so far this season and proved to be just that in this one. Tamin Lipsey, we talked about him too. 12 points, 4 boards, 5 assists. No steals for Lipsey, who averages like 2.5 steals. So I guess that's one thing. Blake Buchanan had 14 points in this one as well. But overall, shooting-wise, and again, if we just simplify the game a lot, we'll skip down, then we'll talk about Belo. But if we simplify the game a lot, Iowa State made more shots than West Virginia made. And it's not that West Virginia didn't have good looks at times. Obviously, Iowa State's defense is really, really good and effective and bothered West Virginia at times. But West Virginia got some good looks, and they didn't make them. Iowa State got some good looks and some not-so-good looks, and they seemed to make them all. 13 of 25 from 3, good for 52% again, aided by an 8 for 10 performance from Momcilovic. And, 13 of 25. And then from the field, really efficient. 29 of 55, made 9 of 15 from the free throw line for their 80 points in this one. And then the flip side, 21-point loss. One team really, really shot the ball well. Another team did not. West Virginia from the field, 21 of 49, good for 43%. 7 of 24 from 3. Honor Huff was 1 for 8. That hurt you. Again, he made that first shot of the game, first 3 points on the board. And the only other 3 points he scored the rest of the way were 3 free throws when he got fouled shooting a 3. So Honor Huff, just quiet as it gets after he made the first shot of the game. Their defense did a good job on him, but he got 8 3-point shots off. But couldn't get him to fall. A couple rimmed out, a couple were tough shots. Not his night. Not his night. Trayson Eaglestaff, 2 of 4 from 3. He had the ball in his hands a lot more. We'll get to that overall, just what this offense looked like. He had the ball in his hands a lot more than we've seen so far this season to start Big 12 play. So that was kind of an interesting note too. Obioha, 21 minutes, just not effective. Made some good passes with 4 assists, but 2 points, 2 boards for your 7-footer. You brought Harlan Obioha in here to get you more. Most likely, I would think you brought him in here to get you more than 2 points and 2 boards. Not a good night. Not a good stretch that he's been on after that Pitt game where it was like, this guy is amazing. So not sure there. Jasper Floyd, 9 points. Couple turnovers, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. I thought he did all right, in 34 minutes leading this offense. You might disagree, but, he was 1 of 5 from 3, 9 points again. Chance Moore got the start in place of the injured Belo, and he was the Mountaineers' best player. 17 points, 7 of 13, attacking the rim, made 3 out of 4 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds to go along with an assist. Without Chance Moore, this could have been a 40-point loss. Chance Moore was really, really good. He's so gifted at, 1, getting to the rim off the bounce, and then 2, just second chance opportunities. I mean, he only had... pun very much not intended, but I love it there. Second chance opportunities. He had 2 offensive rebounds in this one, but it just seems like so many times he puts a shot up and he just goes and gets it again and again and again, and then he finishes. So Chance Moore was pretty special tonight. 7 of 13, 17 points in 33 minutes played for him. DJ Thomas, had a couple buckets late to the, added to this point total. We had 10 points, 4 of 8, 2 of 4 from 3, 3 boards, and 2 steals for DJ Thomas. Jackson Fields, 2 points off the bench. Amir Jenkins made a couple really nice plays. Again, didn't turn the ball over. The freshman in 24 minutes at Hilton Coliseum against one of the best defenses, one of the best teams in the country, and Amir Jenkins refuses to turn the ball over with 4 assists, 7 points. That kid's going to be something special. I really believe it. 2 of 6 from the floor for Amir Jenkins in his 24 minutes. But again, rather impressive from the freshman for his first true road game as a college athlete here with the Mountaineers. So Well, we got to get to this point because, Belo, you see the starting lineup. Oh, I see before they announce the starters, it's like, whoa. Or, in the arena before they announce the starters on the screen and all that you're watching, I see Chance Moore, without the warm-up on, and he's about to take the floor, and it's like, whoa, who's he starting for? Like, what's going on? Then they say Belo is out with an injury, and that obviously set you back a little bit. He's a guy that would have helped tremendously, I think, on these, long, gifted athletes that Iowa State has, whether down low or, outside. Whether Josh Jefferson, Momchelovich, who, again, those two guys just killed you. One had a triple-double and one went 8 of 10 from 3, so you tell me who hurt you in this one. But not having Belo was a factor. And again, we mentioned this is the first game on the road and the first time that this has been a new lineup for the Mountaineers. And, it's not like Chance Moore's not used to playing anything like that, but you mixed it up for the first time. And it just so happened to be at your Big 12 opener against number 3 unbeaten Iowa State Cyclones. Tough place to be. So not having Belo set you back a little bit. Not to sit here and say that he's going to, help us win the game or anything like that, but he's good. And that his contributions would have been a help here for West Virginia. And again, Bob Huggins would simplify the game sometimes, man. And sometimes, man, it's just one team made shots. Another team didn't. Again, I don't think Ross Hodge wants to be giving up 80 points a game. It's not his DNA. It's not how he's wired. It's not how he coaches. It's not the game style that he would choose. But you gave up 80. And every time West Virginia has played a team with a pulse, I'm sorry to say that, but every time they played a team with a pulse, whether all 5 losses they've had, you're giving up a lot of points. You're giving up big halves. And West Virginia gave up 2 pretty big halves tonight to contribute to Iowa State going for 80. I will speak to the offense as we close out this episode. And again, I'll probably release some more episodes. Obviously, more episodes coming up with West Virginia and who they got on the horizon. Just so you know, Cincinnati on January 6th at home. So West Virginia, that's their next game at home, 7 o'clock on ESPN2 against Cincinnati. Would be nice to pick up a win in that one and right the ship a little bit, feel a little bit better. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, I do want to speak to this offense for just a moment because there were some new, I don't know if it's fully because of Belo not being out there, looked like some new wrinkles, some new lineups. Not that we haven't seen a 3-guard lineup, but we saw that quite a bit between Jasper, Honor Huff, and Amir Jenkins. Saw that on the floor. Saw that on the floor a few stretches before, Thomas had a couple travels. I think for the freshman, he's the one that looked affected by it the most, more so than Amir Jenkins did, this pressure and new, hostile environment in Ames. But what was I even saying? Yeah, new lineup. That's what it was. 3-guard lineup, and you saw that at times with Obioha and Thomas. So they would run a lineup out there of Jasper, Amir Jenkins, Honor Huff, DJ Thomas, and Obioha. And that was kind of interesting. Saw a few other wrinkles again. Eaglestaff, I don't know if, I don't know. I'm sure it was just intentional to get him the ball in his hands and see what he can do. He made a couple threes tonight. I don't know if it was as simple as they were taking away his opportunities to shoot, but, it would have been nice to see him shoot a little bit more without Belo out there and, Honor Huff struggling. Where's the offense going to come from? And, the answer that West Virginia had was Chance Moore. But that was it, and it wasn't enough. Clearly, you go 59 points. But, Eaglestaff was involved in bringing up the ball a few times. Trying to get him involved. But, I think in this one, offensively, what just drives you a little crazy is, we've said it throughout recent games. Honor Huff seems to be, it's going to be Honor Huff shooting threes, or it's going to be Chance Moore driving to the bucket. And, again, that just kind of how it felt. It's kind of how it felt. 13 attempts for Moore, 9 attempts for Honor Huff, who went 1 for 9. Jasper Floyd, sometimes you don't shoot the ball that much, but 3 of 7 for him. And as a team, you made 7 out of 24 from 3. And it wasn't enough to get it done. So just kind of an interesting note there, though, because this team struggles offensively at times. They just do when you step up in competition. And Iowa State's in a different league, literally, because it's a Big 12 opener, but literally, in a different league from the teams that you've already lost to. And so you knew it was going to be tough. You knew this was going to be a difficult test. And yet sometimes this offense it looks vanilla. Sometimes it looks like you just don't have many options. And I don't remember the exact lineup that was out there at the time when I was thinking this in my head. But we rolled a lineup out there. I don't think, I guess I could be wrong. I don't know who was out there. But I said to myself, in my head, I said, who's going to score? How are we going to put points on the board with this offense? And I don't remember how it went over that stretch. It was actually in the first half. But I don't think Eaglestaff was out there. I don't think Huff was out there. Obviously, Belo's out. And maybe Chance wasn't even at that. That might be wrong to think all 3 of those guys weren't out there. But I was like, where in the world is the offense going to come from with this unit? And there's just stretches, there's scoring droughts that this team has where they just really, really struggle to put the ball in the basket. We've said that for years as Mountaineer fans, right? Going all the way back to the Bob Huggins era. And before that, sometimes you go through stretches where you struggle to put the ball in the hoop. And West Virginia continues to have moments like that. But to me, and again, I get Iowa State's a really good defense. This will be my final point. I get that Iowa State's a really good defense. I get they're a really good basketball program. I get they have a really good coach. I get they have really good individual defenders. I get that they have a great collective team defense. However, to me, the most glaring thing out of this box score, to me, is, okay, Chance Moore did his thing. Honor Huff struggled shooting the ball. Whether it was the defense, whether it was just an off night, whether his own rhythm, whatever it is, he struggled to make shots. So Chance Moore aside, right? Belo's out. Chance Moore's doing his thing. We already know that. Blah. No need to touch that. So follow with me, right? Chance Moore doing his thing. Brennan Laurient's out. Honor Huff is struggling. Those are the 3 facts that we are presented right now. 1, Belo's out, Honor Huff is struggling, and Chance Moore is doing his thing. Where is the offense going to come from with those? If those 3 things, if I presented those 3 facts to you right now, pregame of the next game, all right? This is what really happened in Iowa State, but what's going to happen against Cincinnati is those 3 things. Belo's still going to be out. Honor Huff's going to struggle to shoot, to make shots. And Chance Moore's doing his thing, being aggressive, making 50% of his shots almost. If those 3 facts are presented to you, what is your game plan for where offense is going to come from? It's not going to be Harlan Obioha. It's just not. Jasper Floyd is not built like that to carry a significant load offensively. Amir Jenkins, as good as he's been in stretches this season, you're not going to say, all right, Amir, go get us 15, 18, 19 points. Not realistic right now. DJ Thomas, not realistic right now. Jackson Fields, it's not why he's here. There's only one name I haven't mentioned. It's Trayson Eaglestaff. That's why you brought him here. You brought him here to get buckets. You got it. You brought him here to score points. And if those 3 facts were presented to you, you have to turn around with that information that you're given, and that's the information that Ross Hodge was given in this game. You have to say, to give myself, my team, the best chance to win, Trayson Eaglestaff has to step up and be a guy, be a dude offensively. So whether you blame Trey, whether you blame the coaching staff, whether you blame the system and just how things worked out, or whether you just say, you know what, it was against Iowa State, give us a mulligan on that one, right? It was against Iowa State. But for Eaglestaff, with those three facts being presented to you, with Eaglestaff only getting off 4 shot attempts, to me, that's a problem. To me, that's a problem because the facts are the facts, and those 3 things are unchanged. And there's also some other facts that you're not going to count on Harlan Obioha. You're not going to count on Thomas or Fields or Amir or Jasper to be the one to go score early and often for you. You're just not going to count on that. But you brought Eaglestaff here to score. So I can't see any world where I am okay with Eaglestaff getting only 4 shot attempts. And by the way, making 2 out of 4 from 3. With him only getting 4 shot attempts when you know that Honor Huff is struggling, when you know that Belo is out, and when you know that Chance Moore's just doing Chance Moore stuff, right? Concerning. You had to find a way to get Eaglestaff the ball. Not saying it's going to change things drastically, not saying you're going to win the game, but man, if I'm presented those 3 facts, Eaglestaff should be chucking them up. Just saying. And credit the Iowa State defense. Take all of that with the knowledge of, I get it. Iowa State's really good. They're really good. They're number 3 in the country for a reason. They're unbeaten for a reason. They got a bright future ahead right now, right here, with this program, what they have their sights set on this year. But, again, Mountaineer Moment, episode 120. Went a little longer than I thought it would, especially at the end there. But you can hit that subscribe button, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you're watching or listening. Hit that subscribe button for us. And we will see you next time. Next up for the Mountaineers, January 6th, WVU Hope Coliseum against Cincinnati, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. We might have a couple more episodes before that, but we'll certainly have, before that game tips off, a game preview episode for you to check out here on Mountaineer Moment. So we'll see you then. Let's go Mountaineers.